On the outskirts of Port Moresby, a tribute to fallen heroes. Bomana War Cemetery is the resting place of diggers who repelled the Japanese advance on the capital. They're buried on foreign soil, and the Australian government spares no expense in honouring the names etched in stone. But no more than a kilometre down the road, there's another resting place. This one is somewhat shabby and not nearly as well kept. Many of those buried here had no life experience at all. Some didn't even make it to their first birthday. The infant mortality rate here hasn't changed much in years. Papua New Guinea is letting its children down. PNG is just a few kilometres off the Australian coast, but the two countries are worlds apart. Despite the hundreds of millions of aid dollars spent here, common preventable illnesses claim too many lives. None are more vulnerable than PNG's young. For every 1,000 babies born here, more than 70 will die before their 5th birthday. That's a mortality rate 14 times higher than in Australia.
I say constantly that the most valuable resource of Papua New Guinea is the children.
This is Port Moresby's one and only morgue. The building can house 60, yet it's always overcrowded. The abandoned bodies of babies are piling up.
You will see that some of the name tags have got unknown mother, and these could be children that were actually found outside somewhere in the suburb and brought into our A&E dead on arrival room without any identification.
Social worker Tessie Soy and her volunteers have arrived to make some room at the morgue.
Baby of Gloria Clement.
Now these infants will have some dignity in death. Today, 24 of them will be buried in a mass funeral.
Okay, these ones are actually twins, so they're triplets, but one has survived. These two have unfortunately not. So make sure that they're put together in the grave.
Some of these bodies have been here for months.
Baby of unknown mother.
In many cases, mothers died giving birth. Other parents simply can't afford to pay the funeral costs.
Baby of Alice Jackson.
Tessie Soy's final gesture is to give the babies a name before their burial.
This is young Bradley and this is young Rarua. Where you're going, it's nice that you should have a name and my identity. So God bless my babies. I'll go and put you to rest at 9 months.
PNG is also a society in rapid change. Each day, people pour into the settlements and shantytowns of Port Moresby. Looking for a better life, few will find. Many leave behind the traditions and the support of village life.
Something's going wrong somewhere, and this is where we're losing our culture. We're supposed to react, especially in death. We all come together, no matter what your differences are.
This is also the domain of Tessie Soy and her volunteer organisation, Friends Foundation.
Okay, I'm all right. Well, what we'll do is we'll...
And it's another testament to a society breaking down.
Give him name now.
This is a weekly session for HIV-positive parents and their children. Each has a terrible story.
This was little Frederick. His mom, unfortunately, had been raped and found that she was pregnant. then only to be told a couple of months later that she was HIV positive.
In his first 18 months of life, Frederick has carried his mother's antibodies, and so doctors couldn't tell if he too was HIV positive.
Always have hope.
But with his birthday approaching, he's just been tested.
Okay, so you make an announcement, Joachim, Frederick here is going to be 2 years old tomorrow. Result long M negative. You make him big plahan long M. Happy birthday to you. When Frederick's diagnosis was HIV negative, it moved me, and it always moves me, because to me I feel, well, thank God, you know, we've got one child, you know, we've been able to save. But we've got to keep the mother going, or the parents going, because of the fact that these children need their parental guidance as long as, you know, they can.
It was here I met 9-year-old Rarua. She isn't as lucky as the birthday boy. Rarua has tested positive to the virus. HIV/AIDS claimed both her parents when she was a baby. Now she lives with her aunt on the edge of Port Moresby.
When we say grace before eating, we don't forget about her. We always pray for her. She doesn't know. All she knows is she's sick, but she doesn't know what kind of sickness that she's got.
Rarua's aunt believes the little girl contracted HIV through her mother's breast milk.
I felt sad and worried, because when I found out that the mother was positive, the time Rarua was still baby, the mother was still breastfeeding her, I regret that I should have taken Rarua for checkup before the mother closing her eyes, but it was already too late.
It's a common way for babies to become infected. Here, an untreated HIV-positive mother has about a 30% chance of passing on the virus to her baby, either during pregnancy or through breastfeeding. But infected or not, in Papua New Guinea, all mothers are still urged to breastfeed. Encouraging the nursing mothers of PNG are these women. They're counsellors from the voluntary Susu Mamas organisation.
What else you need? Milk. Good lady.
In local pidgin language, Susu means milk.
We all have 2 breasts each. Not 3 breasts or 4 breasts. 2 only. Okay.
The instruction is in very simple language.
Baby should open the mouth wide. Breast is put into the mouth of the baby.
Even though motherhood is so important to these women, the nurses find a disturbing ignorance.
It's best to give the baby the breast. Huh? You don't have to boil it. You don't have to clean it. It's there, ready. Okay? You understand?
Despite the risk of HIV transferred through breast milk, medical authorities say it's still safer than bottle feeding in developing countries.
Thank you for coming.
The head of Susu Mamas, Tiff Nongor, agrees.
The number one cause of infant mortality in Papua New Guinea is dehydration, and that is usually as a result of diarrhoea, as a direct result of incorrect feeding practices.
Modernity has brought these mothers plastic bottles, but it hasn't brought them clean water, making it hard to sterilise the baby's bottle.
Urbanisation has a lot to do with these incorrect feeding practices. Women are in the settlements, they're out of traditional role settings, they resort to bottles because they believe it's probably a better mode of feeding, it's probably more nutritional or it's more convenient. But the problem is that very bottle feeding is what's killing the children.
Sterilising a bottle in Grace John's household is painfully difficult. She has 2 young children. The youngest is still breastfed, but her eldest, Tony, has already been weaned.
Tony won't like to drink sisu again because he's used to the bottle already.
P&G has gone to great lengths to keep its babies off the bottle. It's illegal to buy one without a doctor's prescription, but most pharmacies flout the law.
Do you sell baby bottles? How much are they?
While we filmed with a hidden camera, an ABC staffer made an easy purchase.
Thank you. You have a nice day.
How did you go?
Yeah, I bought a bottle. I didn't need a prescription to buy it. It only costed me 10 kina.
It's International Children's Day, and the message here is, give the kids a chance. P&G is an unforgiving place to be brought up in. Each day it's estimated that diseases kill 35 children under the age of 5. But there's another peril threatening P&G's young. This is the face of domestic violence here. Toy Molly says she's 14, but no one is sure how old she really is. She was beaten and burned within an inch of her life by her husband. Toy Molly was 6 months pregnant when it happened.
I'm looking with the house now. I'm coming to the house now. I'm tidy, give me under the staff now. I'm beginning to come out.
It was a shocking assault, even in a country where violence is commonplace. What happened to Toy Molly sparked anger across the nation, and it's here at the P&G Parliament where the public made a stand. A petition deploring violence against women attracted thousands of signatures. Community Services Minister Dame Carol Kidu is a seasoned campaigner against domestic violence, but she had never seen such public outrage.
It was, I would say, the catalyst that mobilised the nation and started what is now this bringing violence to be a matter of national importance.
But domestic violence didn't appear to be a matter of national importance for those who can make a real difference, the lawmakers. P&G is a man's world, and in her parliament, Dame Carol is the only woman and a lonely voice.
I get very despondent. I feel that we're sometimes hitting our head against a brick wall, but there are cracks in that wall and we've got to keep widening those cracks.
If there was little action in Parliament over the Toy Molly case, there was no action from the law. Local police told me they didn't know where Toy Molly's husband was, so I went looking for him. It took me only an hour to track him down in the Highlands bush where he was hiding with his mates. In an extraordinary explanation, Toy Molly's husband, Robert Jew, said he was punishing his wife for not telling him about an earlier assault. When I challenged him, Jew said his wife actually got off lightly.
Ja, mi bellat long. Was mi tintelo bagraben. No mi paito.
If a child lives with the violence, they learn to be violent. And I think we are seeing a cycle of violence being established in Papua New Guinea more than it was in the past.
It's burial day for Tessie Soy's pauper babies.
Oh, Vanessa.
A public bus doubles as a hearse for their final journey.
Okay, Doreen, my dear.
The procession makes its way through the dusty streets of Port Moresby, a city that's let down many parents of these lost children. Their new resting place is where our story began. Once, these tiny bodies would have been buried in the same hole with nameless adults.
Put you over there, number 5. Just on the side here.
Now, at least they're with each other.
Number 12, Jackie. Just because they died soon at birth or a few days later doesn't mean that they are nobody. Everyone who is born is considered a person.
Tessie Soy takes note where each baby is laid to rest. Any information she does have will be useful for parents who one day might show up.
Okay, bye, Charlie. Maybe in the future somebody wants to look for them, a brother or sister or an auntie. We will know where the child is.
But Tessie Soy doesn't hold out much hope. Of the 300 babies she's buried in the past 3 years, only 2 parents have come forward. Papua New Guinea is losing its sense of family and is drifting away from what once really mattered.
Well, you're happy now, children, I hope. I'm sure you are out of the cold. Now you've got a place to rest and you can go out and play in the fields and come back to your own little home. God bless you all. Rest in peace. Bamahuta.